Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm Jessica Williams. Thank you so much for joining me for this special edition. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. If you are unaware of this national holiday, let me share more. Juneteenth officially celebrates the emancipation and freedom of all enslaved African Americans. Now, when I say officially, I mean back in 1863, Abraham Lincoln passed the Emancipation Proclamation freeing all. However, there were still states in the South that kept holding on to their slaves. So it wasn't until 2 years later, in 1865, that Texas freed all slaves. And now, Juneteenth, June 19th, is celebrated as thinking about the history of our country and the freedom for all. And today I am standing here at the Pillars of Hope and Justice Monument located in downtown Fort Wayne, celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and when he visited Fort Wayne and gave such a dynamic speech in 1963, 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And throughout this monument, the words that he spoke is inscribed through the roots of these trees. If you remember back when we did our MLK celebration in January, I spoke with city leaders to learn about the process and the excitement and anticipation of this monument. And now it is here. So on today's show, I am taking you inside of the monument reveal and the special event that transpired, and I have the rare opportunity to interview Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s son, Martin Luther King III. And a little bit later, I take you inside of the Emancipation and Freedom Exhibit at the Allen County Public Library. Are you ready? Let's do it.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
We've been blessed with a number of murals that have been painted throughout our community, and several other monuments signifying our recognition of certain people that have made a huge contribution to our community. But my friends, there's nothing like this.
Today we gather to commemorate a monumental milestone in the history of our city. 60 years have passed since the great Martin Luther King Jr. graced Fort Wayne with his powerful words, which will forever be etched here in our Pillars of Hope and Justice. Today, as we stand on the cusp of unveiling this long-awaited monument, we are reminded of the significance of Dr. King's message. His words echoing through the halls of history, continuing to inspire to strive for equality, justice, and unity. His legacy serves as a beacon of hope, guiding us on an ongoing fight for a more inclusive and equitable society. This monument is more than just a structure of stone and metal. It symbolizes our commitment to carry forth Dr. King's legacy, to ensure that his dream lives on the hearts and minds of future generations.
What more powerful inspiration could my children have than to know Dr. King was here? The words were spoken here. That part of the dream was imparted here. My daughter, my son, the children here, and the next generation still need to be inspired by Dr. King's dream. As Scripture says, how good and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters dwell together in unity. And indeed, as Dr. King spoke here 60 years ago, we have discovered that love works miracles. May the next generation find this to be true.
It's so easy to celebrate Dr. King. It takes energy to replicate Dr. King. And so we certainly hope that as much as this program and this monument, as marvelous and momentous as it is, and as unique as it is, that maybe it will serve as an impetus to move us, yes, to Dr. King's beloved community. But it's an ongoing process if we're going to reach the promised land. Come on, those of you that aren't standing, stand to your feet. Let's welcome my friend, brother beloved, Brother Martin Luther King III.
They are monuments, statues, and honors availed to my dad and mom now. Really, many places around the nation and world. But I think, to my knowledge, this is one of the first that has the words of his message that was done in this community. Darkness, he said, cannot put out darkness, only light can do that. Violence will not ever stamp out violence, only love and non-violence will stamp out violence. I need to stop because I would have said my whole...
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
Welcome back. After the monument's reveal, I was so excited and elated to have a very rare opportunity to interview Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s son, Martin Luther King III. Let's have a look. So first and foremost, how does it feel to be here celebrating 60 years since your father was here?
Well, it always feels, I'm always honored to participate in anniversaries, but I am also cognizant of the fact that there's still a great amount of work that has to be done. And so on the one hand, I don't like the word bittersweet, but that would be the one way of describing it. The sweet part is, of course, that Dad's work is being honored, Dad and Mom's, but the bitter part is that we still have so far to go.
We do. And
I'm, greatly disappointed about the direction that we've gone in for now. The hope, and you always know, when you come to a dedicatory service and it's pillars of hope and justice, that is amazing. And the words that Dad spoke are identified. This is here forever. It's the hope that can become. That's the beautiful part of it.
Yes, and that was your father's message and the message that you continue to give. And tonight you said something so important. You said that what we have to do now is extract the good out of each other and to truly live our lives and not just exist. How can we put that to practice?
So I think the best way to put it to practice is, number one, everybody has a light. Your light can be positive or negative. It's a choice. It's intentional. We have to intentionally decide we're going to be a reflection of positivity and not a reflection of negativity. And that's the only way. It's almost like, how do you eat an elephant? It's bit by bit. You can't just wave a magic wand and it happens. So it's almost a daily exercise that we have to engage in. It's like when, we walk past each other every day as human beings and don't even speak. And those simple things, saying good morning, hello, how are you? And sometimes we're all feeling down, but somebody's saying, how are you? And it resonates. So it's an energy. And that's what we have to deliberately and intentionally do if we want to transform society.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was
All
a
right.
pleasure.
All right.
If you are just joining us, today we are celebrating Juneteenth by giving you an inside look at the monument reveal for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. right here in downtown Fort Wayne. Next up, the reception took place on the inside of the official building that MLK spoke at 60 years ago. And we got to hear from city leaders and Martin Luther King III himself.
A single phrase was spoken in Fort Wayne that was omitted from his major freedom rallies, only to be gloriously reinserted for Dream. Quote, meet their physical force with soul force. That eloquent appeal is highlighted in your program and appears twice on Pillars of Hope and Justice.
But we shall overcome, because in the successful conclusion of our nonviolent revolution, we shall overcome, because in the words of Thomas Carlyle, no lie can live forever. No, we shall overcome because the Bible is right. I'll say it again, you'll reap what you sow. We will speed up that day. I'm going to tell them in August in a few days, we'll speed up that day. All of God's children will join hands. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. Thank you and God bless you.
Because 60 years later, from when he was here, speaking right here in this spot, we must raise the question, where are we in our nation called home? My dad used to say that the ultimate measure of a human being is not where they stand in times of comfort and convenience, but where you stand in times of challenge and controversy. On some questions, he said, cowardice ask, is a position safe? Expediency ask, is a position politic? Vanity ask, is a position popular? But that something deep inside called conscience ask, is a position right? He said we must take positions that are neither safe nor popular nor politic, but we must take those positions because our consciences tell us they're right. You know, we've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. We can win victories in our neighborhood, on our street. We can win a victory in our places of worship. We can win a victory in our schools. Some of us will win victories in our city. Some may even win victories in our state. There are others who may even win a victory for our nation. And yet there's still some who may win a victory for the world. All those words mean are be ashamed to die until you have done a little something to make the world in which we all must live a little better than it was when you arrived. Thank you so much, and may God bless you for coming.
I am at the Allen County Public Library inside of the Rolland Center for Lincoln Research. They have a brand new display and exhibit up all this month celebrating the history of Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. I'm going to learn more about the exhibit and take a look at some unique artifacts that have never been on display before. Let's do it. Joining me now is Kayla Gustafson, who is a senior Lincoln librarian here. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Well, I'm so excited to be here and to learn more about your Emancipation and Freedom exhibit. So share more with me about it.
Absolutely. So we here worked to find and curate items that had to do with this amazing story of both emancipation, freedom, Lincoln, and some others. So in this case right now, we circle around Frederick Douglass as well as Booker T. Washington. While they were both growing up as slaves, Frederick Douglass freed himself, but Booker T. Washington was freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. And they really encompass a lot of struggling times, going from the Civil War era all the way through Reconstruction. So it's a very broad brush approach to this very sensitive subject and the celebration of Juneteenth.
Yes, absolutely. And so you all put together really cool, unique exhibits throughout the entire library. And Juneteenth today is just so monumental for our culture for so many different reasons. And so can you share more about how each of these individuals really played a role in the freedom movement?
Absolutely. So I'll start with Abraham Lincoln. This one's kind of more of a given. Now, Abraham Lincoln had a very monumental task of being president during wartime. Now, just 1 year into the war, he emancipated slaves within Washington, D.C. Then, on September 22nd of 1862, he gave his proclamation of emancipation. This was just the rough draft, and it went into effect on January 1st of 1863, which is when you get the celebration of Emancipation Day, which is on New Year's. And when that happened, it freed slaves in rebel territories. That didn't include the border states. Now, we have Juneteenth. A lot of people will ask us, well, Emancipation Day is on January 1st of 1863, but why is it that Juneteenth is January 19th of 1865. And that's because in the South, they weren't letting enslaved people know that they were free until the Union came in and emancipated them. And the last state to be emancipated was in Galveston, Texas on that June 19th, as you know. You're shaking your head yes, so.
Yeah, and I'm from Texas.
No, you know.
So we've been celebrating that holiday for so long, and it has, I feel, recently been more expanded throughout our nation and people learning more about it. And so I love the roots and the history that is here within this exhibit. So can you share some about the pieces? Because I understand that some of these pieces have never been on display before.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to touch on some of my favorites, one of which has been displayed before, and they're parked here in the back. They are miniature Emancipation proclamations that were held by the soldiers that were going into the South and emancipating different states. And they would pass them out, letting people know you are free. And we do have facsimiles of those that we will be passing out both Saturday, Sunday, as well into Monday and next week. So you can get your own. And then we also have these pieces by Frederick Douglass. One is a note from Frederick Douglass to a gentleman asking him for his autograph. Because Frederick Douglass, we know him today, but especially in the 19th century, he was known as being the most famous Black American. He had touches in abolitionism as well as women's rights later on. And this note is saying, I think I have some time to give you an autograph, and he signs it Frederick Douglass. And then in the corner, it's another Frederick Douglass signature. Right over here, we have two letters, and they are from Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington fought for the education of freed Black folks in the South and then onwards into the North. And he believed that economic freedom would lead to equal rights. And these two right here, one of them touches on his Atlanta speech that he gave in Georgia to a predominantly white audience, saying that we need economic freedom. And those are parked right here, and those really haven't been on display. And they're just wonderful pieces.
Yes, absolutely. And so as people come and experience the weekend here at the library, you all have this exhibit on display inside of the Lincoln Research Center, but you also have other activities going on.
We
so
do.
Can you share more with me?
Absolutely. So some of the things that we have going on is we have our monthly scavenger hunt that will be out, and upon completing that scavenger hunt, you can choose a button, and these buttons are facsimiles of things in the collection, and the one that we have special for this month is an image of Frederick Douglass with his signature right around the bottom.
Yes.
I love it so much, but I'm biased. And then we also have the pass outs of the Emancipation Proclamation, the miniature ones. And on top of that, we also are going to have one of your senior Lincoln librarians, so me and my colleague Jessie Cortese, will be out and about, so if you have any questions, we're here for you. And we do have these wonderful barcodes, so you can take some of this history home with you and learn more about the proclamation as well as Frederick Douglass.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
Oh,
Kayla,
yeah, anytime.
for sharing more. It's so important, and the history is so rich. So you all want to come to the Allen County Public Library this weekend. They will have different things going on, and you can come and see this exhibit yourself and kind of have an experience with history. If you want more information about the library, we'll have their website listed below, and we'll be right back.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Thank you so much for tuning in today for a special edition of Living Local 15. I hope that you learned something new and that you enjoyed the history and the reveal of this brand new monument in downtown Fort Wayne. And remember, to rewatch this episode or any other episodes of Living Local 15, head over to WANE.com and check out the WANE app. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your Monday, and I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.